Welcome to Kiddos Explorer Hub, where every story is a new adventure. Settle in, get cozy, and let's journey to a land of wonder. In the heart of a bustling kingdom stood a clock tower so ancient, its stones were draped in ivy like a green velvet cloak. The people called him Old Tock. For centuries he had watched over them, his giant hands marking the passage of time. He saw generations come and go, witnessed festivals and farewells, and held 1,000 years of stories locked within his stone heart. But Old Tock had a secret. At night, when the kingdom slept, he began to dream. He dreamed of sharing the tales he had collected, stories of brave knights, clever queens, and magical beasts. He yearned to tell them, to let his voice ring out with more than just the hourly chime. But there was one problem. Old Tock could not speak. His chimes could tell the time, but not the tales. His silence was a heavy weight, a treasure chest with no key. One year, a strange and endless winter fell upon the kingdom. Snow began to fall in the middle of summer, blanketing the vibrant flower fields in a thick layer of white. The sun, once a warm and friendly face, became a pale, distant orb behind a curtain of gray clouds. The crops in the fields froze solid, their green shoots turning to brittle ice. Rivers that once flowed with cheerful energy became still, silent ribbons of frost. The children, who used to play tag in the sun-drenched squares, now huddled indoors, their laughter replaced by quiet whispers. A deep worry settled over the kingdom like the snow itself. The king's wisest advisors were stumped. They consulted ancient books and stared at the stars, but no one could understand why winter had decided to stay. The warmth and joy of the kingdom were fading, and a chilling despair began to creep into everyone's hearts. The world grew colder and quieter with each passing day. Among the worried villagers was a young girl named Maya. She was clever and endlessly curious, with eyes that noticed the smallest details and a heart that wasn't afraid of a good puzzle. While others worried, Maya wondered. She noticed that the snow seemed to fall thickest around the old clock tower. One quiet afternoon, drawn by an unexplainable pull, she decided to investigate. As she approached Old Tock, she heard something no one else had noticed, a faint, rhythmic whisper, like a sigh carried on the frosty wind. It was a sound full of longing and untold stories. Convinced the clock tower was broken, and that its sorrow was somehow connected to the endless winter, Maya decided she had to fix it. With a satchel of tools and a brave heart, she began the long, winding climb up the tower's stone steps. When she reached the top, amidst a maze of silent gears and frozen chimes, the whisper grew clearer. A voice, ancient and soft, spoke directly into her mind. "Help me," it pleaded. "Help me find my voice." It was Old Tock, and he was asking for her help. Maya, far from being scared, felt a surge of determination. She saw the dust-clogged gears and the frozen voice pipes that were meant to carry beautiful melodies, not just solemn chimes. She understood that Old Tock wasn't just a machine. He was a storyteller waiting to be heard. With gentle hands, she set to work. She carefully cleaned each gear, oiling the ones that had grown stiff with age and sorrow. She followed the intricate network of pipes, clearing away decades of dust and ice. It was like solving the most wonderful puzzle she had ever encountered. As she worked, Old Tock whispered his gratitude, guiding her to hidden levers and forgotten switches. Finally, with a soft click, Maya turned a small, star-shaped key she found hidden behind the main bell. A warm hum vibrated through the tower. The frozen voice pipes thawed, and a new melodic chime echoed through the chamber. Old Tock was ready, and as the sun began to set, he shared his very first story, a magical tale of the kingdom's founding, a story so ancient and warm it felt like liquid sunlight. The story flowed from the clock tower, not in words, but in a symphony of beautiful chimes and melodies that everyone in the kingdom could understand in their hearts. It was a tale of courage and light, of the first king and queen who planted a sun seed in the heart of the valley. As the story unfolded, a miraculous thing began to happen. The melody was so full of warmth and hope that it began to melt the magical spell of winter. The people, huddled in their homes, opened their windows, their hearts warmed by the beautiful music. The snow on the rooftops began to drip, drip, drip away. The ice on the river cracked, and the water began to flow again. With each new chapter of Old Tock's tale, a little more warmth returned to the world. The frosty spell couldn't hold against such powerful joy. As the final notes of the story faded, the clouds parted, and a single golden ray of sunlight broke through, bathing the kingdom in its gentle glow. The endless winter was over. From that day on, Old Tock was no longer just a timekeeper. He became the heart and soul of the kingdom. Every evening at sunset, the people would gather in the main square, children and adults alike, to listen to the Clocktower's tales. He told stories of mischievous sprites who painted the autumn leaves, of dragons who guarded hidden waterfalls, and of lovers who danced with the stars. His stories brought laughter, wonder, and a sense of connection back to the people. And Maya, the clever girl who had listened when no one else did, became his most trusted companion and keeper. She would climb the tower every day, not to fix him, but simply to listen, becoming the first to hear his new stories. The Clocktower who dreamed had finally found his voice, and in doing so, he taught everyone a valuable lesson. Your voice matters, and your story deserves to be heard, even when you think no one is listening. Thank you for joining us on this wonderful story. We hope it filled your heart with warmth. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us again for another adventure at Kiddos Explorer Hub. Sweet dreams.